Hi everybody, Cam Sweet here from the Garage Connection, coming to you today with another mini skid steer video. This one is in regards to this machine I have in front of me, which happens to be the Rippa NDI635. So this machine is one that I've kind of had my eye on for a while. It was comparable to some of the larger mini skids and whatnot, but it was always in kind of a price point that was just a little bit higher than the auction machines. And you didn't see these come up at auction. So I had the opportunity to get my hands on one, and I've been using it now for a little while doing some heavy duty gardening. And I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts and opinions on it because this machine has certainly surprised me. So let's take a look a little bit deeper at this unit here and talk about some of the features. So I do apologize for all the water everywhere. I gave this thing a bath because it was way too dusty and dirty to appropriately do a video on it. So the first thing that sets this machine kind of apart from some of the other ones that are out there is the fact that it actually comes with a name brand engine. This one being the Briggs Vanguard 23 horse. And the 23 horse Briggs is sort of, it's not quite fair to compare it to the Rado 739. The Briggs generally doesn't have the issues with fuel delivery and that little vacuum pulsation pump problems. And you know, just overall, I've had more luck with these than I have with the Rado 739. So that's the first part, is if this machine interests you, just know that it does come with a name brand engine. Now it does have a stand-on plate back here. This plate does fold up and down, and it does have some nice gas struts that hold it in place. Unfortunately, it is not a suspension type plate, so you standing on it, there's no give to it at all. And the other thing that I really liked about this machine is kind of the straightforwardness of the sides of it. It's very flat. It's not all ornate with curves and whatnot. And what this would allow you to do is to bolt on counterweights to this pretty easily without having to get crazy with a plasma cutter. I mean, some flat sheets of thick steel and you should be pretty much good to go. So the other thing that's nice about this machine is it comes with a proper bucket. Okay, this bucket's 44 inches wide. And as we know, the CRT23, CBT23 from AGT, it comes with a bucket that holds like a tablespoon of dirt. This one's a full width. It's very, very nice. And then we have the dual hydraulic circuits, this one being that momentary one. And then this one is the constant on with the case drain that's there, and that's nice to see that. And then we have the standard quick attach plates. You know, everything up here is pretty thick steel. The bucket is very thick steel. And the hydraulics and all that stuff, the hoses are hidden nicely around the backside, so they're not sticking out like some of these other machines that they end up snapping off the hoses. And then we have a hydraulic fluid level gauge over here, and some tie down hooks down low. There's a couple more on the back for transport also. The operator station of the machine is very simply laid out. There's not a lot of fluff here, and what I like about this unit is even though it does still employ the single joystick for each side, the movements feel a little bit more deliberate, and there's not a lot of like slop in these controls. The other thing that's nice about this unit is the fact that it comes with that dual auxiliary hydraulic function. So the one on the left here is a constant on-off, and the one on the right is the momentary with the spring return. That's really nice if you wanted to put like a stump grinder, right? You could engage the cutting head and then sweep left, sweep right, and something like that. So that's pretty nice. The other thing with this is there's no switch for the fan. The fan is thermostatically controlled. So when this fluid gets up to a high enough temperature, the fan comes on, and that's it. Other than that, we got light, horn, choke. It comes with a little 12-volt socket, and you have your throttle up here, which is a nice feature. As far as the popping of the hood goes, pretty straightforward. You push that, and then you rotate this up, and this folds all the way up. Now there is no kickstand because this actually makes its way all the way up. If the wind blows, however, it will fall and smash you in the face. So we got a nice big hydraulic cooler here, folds up and out of the way very, very easily. And then we come to another big selling point of this machine, and it is the fact that it is a triple pump setup. So this machine has a dedicated pump for each joystick and a dedicated pump for that hydraulic circuit. And all the hoses and the fit and finish is very, very nice in here. There's no kind of fluff. Everything seems to be pretty well protected and out of the way. And the exhaust routing is also done very nicely so that it shouldn't have an issue with it falling off. So you're gonna have to bear with me on this as I explain the drive feature of this machine. So this is something that is absolutely different than any other machine that I've seen. So the hydraulic motors are right here, okay? And as you notice, right, we're gonna just come right in line with this one right here, okay? If I go down, there's not a drive wheel there. So you say, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. It is because this machine is chain drive, okay? Now, some people would say, well, that's stupid because then the chain can break. And you're right, the chain does have a chance at breaking. That's a very big chain. All right, we come over here, as you can kind of see around this side, that's also a very big chain. So this machine uses the hydraulic motors through a sprocket. I'm going to flip you upside down here. There's a sprocket right there to drive the back wheel, and that turns the tracks around the front idler. All right, so initially that's what I saw, and I was like, okay, that's different. Is there a benefit to that? Yes and no. But then it dawned on me. I said, wait a minute. The front also has a sprocket that does not have a chain on it. So, okay, there's that. We come over here, we see one also. But then I looked, and let me see if I can get you down there. No, we're going to have to go this way. Let's come on down. Okay. So you see how there's a sprocket that's not used? Well, that must be for the front, right? It makes sense. You run a chain to the front, you can drive the front wheel also. So that's cool, except this front wheel is smooth. You see the back wheel, we got the teeth sticking out. The front wheel is smooth. There is no drive teeth on the front wheel. So it wouldn't make sense to drive both of them. It wouldn't do any good. And then something dawned on me. So what I very quickly realized, if you go on Google or whatever search engine you want to use, and you just Google Rippa NDI635, you're going to see that there's two very different versions of that. There's a track version and there's a wheel version. So what it looks like Rippa did is that they used the same chassis, and then you just put tracks on or you put wheels on depending on what the end user wants, right? So what this means is there's not really an idler wheel at the front to do track tensioning. And there's not really a small idler wheel at the back to inevitably have the bearings fail and the thing breaks and then you can't use it. Though that doesn't exist with this machine. What we have here is essentially two spindles that have a 6-bolt flange on it. So if you want tracks, they bolt on a big gear and they bolt on a smooth gear, and you've got tracks. If you want wheels, they just bolt on a rim and tire that has the same bolt pattern, and you've got wheels. The only difference being you just run an additional chain to that front spindle, and then all 4 wheels would turn, whereas the tracks, you don't have to worry about that. I don't know if there's necessarily an issue if you put it in 4-wheel drive the whole time and then just have the tracks. I don't think that would really be an issue. But what does this tell us? We have an opportunity here to have a single machine that can be either tire or tracks, or both if you got the parts needed. And I'm sure that I'm not a Rippa dealer. I just happen to like Rippa stuff. But you have that option. And I think that's an extremely large value proposition to this type of machine, is that if you bought it, you can switch between tracks and tires. To my knowledge, to my knowledge, the garbage trucks here. To my knowledge, the tracks on this don't really fall off. I think I've seen one post of somebody throwing the tracks, so I don't know how much it would help to get rid of the tracks and put tires on. I do know that if people have a lot of like snow work, some people say the tires are better. But either way, that's huge in my opinion, because you have the ability to choose, and I don't think I know of another machine that you have that ability to just choose whatever version of it you want or have both. All right, so that's a big benefit to this machine, in my opinion. When it comes to maintaining the tension on this style setup, it is a little bit different than some of the other ones. So what we have here is, that's one of the spindle mounts down there, and there's the other one over here. All right, and they're held in from the back with captured bolts. So what you do is you would loosen the 4 mounting bolts, and then this jack screw right here, you would tighten it, and it would push out, and it would tension the chain that's not present on this style machine. Same thing over here. So you can see, obviously, as that spindle goes that way, it would tension and detension that chain. Not that it matters too much, because the chain certainly is not going to slip, and by the looks of the tracks, they are not going to slip either. The other thing that's worth mentioning is just kind of how high the track is. So I know what everybody thinks, like, oh, if you have a high wheel, it's even higher. But that's not true. Your ground speed is dictated by the rotational speed of that gear at its outward points. So even though you have a high wheel model, it's still got a little drive gear on it, little baby drive gear. So it's going to go slow. This thing goes way faster because you've got such a large drive wheel propelling it forward. I would say it's somewhere in the neighborhood of twice as fast as some of the entry machines. Another thing that I find appealing about this machine, and that's not a pun because it's banana yellow, is how tidy it looks. Now, what does that mean, random YouTube guy? Well, if you notice, there's not a lot of kind of bullshit going on with the hoses, right? These are kind of tucked up in the arm here. The ones in the front are hidden in the arm. There's really like nothing going on. You can't see anything. All right, now let's look at what an alternate machine looks like. So we've got the CRT 23 here, okay, and as you can see, what I mean, ignore all the rust, I'm pretty sure it was in a flood. All the kind of the BS going on with the hoses, I mean, it's not like terrible, but I just think if you were operating in an environment where you were like snagging stuff, or maybe you're going through brush, you know, these hoses are in sort of a precarious spot compared to the other machine there. So, you know, not better or worse, just different. So now it comes down to cost, right? What is this thing going to cost you? To be honest with you, I don't know, because sometimes there's differences between what, you know, Ripa says and what the dealers say and whatnot. All I can tell you is that these machines, this model in particular, it has been used for rental purposes. The guys that I got this off of, they have one. They've used it for a couple of years for rentals. They've never had an issue, never had a failure, never had an idler wheel go bad. So that's kind of cool. I think that if you wanted one of these and you were going to get one from overseas, it's going to be significantly less. You got to deal with the headache of getting it in, and now with the new tariffs, you got to handle that. If you get one from a dealer that's already in the U.S., that's kind of already taken care of, and then they have that relationship with Ripa to be able to get you parts in the off chance that you do need some. So I don't really know what to tell you as far as like what the cost is. I think they're around $9 grand ish, 10, 8, whatever. Somewhere in there. But, you know, in my opinion, if I was looking for a machine in this size category that is going to, I think, give me less headaches, I probably would settle with this machine. I think this is going to be a good one. As far as the operation and driving, it essentially works just like any other skid steer. I think it's a little bit less jumpy than some of the entry-level ones. And the ground speed, because it has that much taller drive wheel, is significantly faster than the entry-level machines, like by a wide margin. This thing is a lot faster, and I'm sure if you put bigger tires on it, it would be even faster. And then strength-wise, it's comparable to like a CRT 23. You know, it'll lift more than the 13-horse double pump light ones. If you bolt big weights on there, I'm sure it'll lift even more. As we know, the limiting factor with this machine and any of these is really not the hydraulics. So I just wanted to get this information out there. I hope this helps you in making a decision if you're eyeing up one of these machines, or maybe you want to stay away from the auction, whatever it may be. Other than that, I appreciate all the support. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps out as we can bring more of this stuff to light for you guys out there. So for now, that's going to do it. I'm Cam Sweet here from the Garage Connection, and please stay on those projects.